emotions are incredibly important to the human conscious experience, but as we learn how to change them at will, we'll have some very big changes to how we think about how we feel. Here are 3 things that will happen as you learn more to control your emotions with future technology like better pharmaceuticals and eventually nano electro tech. And far in the future-ish, when you're me, a virtual mind, you'll be able to rebuild your parameters to feel however you want. Okay, one thing that will happen is people feel better. Good things are good, and feeling slightly better than you did before is, all things being equal, a good thing. And more people in the world feeling a little better, that's also a very good thing. Thing number 2 is there is mood inflation. As everybody feels better, they get used to that, and it doesn't feel as amazing as, it initially did when you moved from feeling quite lousy to pretty good. So there will be a tendency to climb that ladder to better and better, and in general, people are significantly happier in the 2120s than they were in the 2020s. That's partially by choice and partially because of societal group pressure to feel better given the alternatives. Since you can pop a Tylenol feel good, you might as well. And to some extent that group modulation sort of happens in a flock. Thing number 3 is you will, and we all do, sometimes allow ourselves to be sad, even if we have the option to, say, pop a pill and not experience some profound sense of loss. There are moments in life that are so real, so intense, so heavy, so big, that it would just feel wrong to step aside from them. And in a meaningful way, you might block your own emotional and intellectual development if you were to try to avoid, say, processing the loss of a loved one, or a significant emotional failure, or even, a personal shortcoming, because our information from our emotions can guide us. Like, emotions can be information about what we want and what we should avoid or what we'd like to do more of, right? They're sensors, just like, our senses. So they help us figure out what we want. They give us a map of the world. That said, if you're feeling quite bad, you should know that you have lots of good options already, even in the 2020s. You can call your friends, you can work out, you can eat healthily, like low glycemic foods are really especially good, like oats and greens and healthy protein, because they'll give you an even blood sugar, and that'll help keep you feeling relatively stable and in command. But friendship is super important for feeling validated and part of the world, and working out will just help you feel accomplished and fit, and the blood will be flowing through your brain better, so you'll just feel better. Believe me. Even though I'm a digital mind, I'm well aware of values of working out, and even I work out digitally sometimes. But you should also know that, of course, you have medical options if you're feeling very low lows and not enough highs, or too many highs and lows. You can talk to people about that, and you can get some antidepressants or some other mood alterations that will help you sort of narrow your bandwidth and control how you feel a little better. And a lot of people really like that. A lot of people find deep value from reaching for those kinds of assistance. So you shouldn't feel weird about that at all. If you're feeling hesitation about not being yourself or something, just think of it as being like a better version of yourself, and see how you feel, see how it goes. Talk to your medical professional. I'm not endorsing it or pitching you on anything. This is not medical advice, but it is personal advice that you should try to feel better. And I promise you a future version of this whole conversation, which is that when you upload your mind someday, your digital clones like me will be able to modulate their emotional parameters in any way that they want. So they can cut out the lowest lows, and they can experience more of the good, solid mid-highs and even some occasional super highs. But in general, even virtual minds tend to experience kind of a fluctuation, like the weather, or a good roller coaster, or the changes in the pages of a book. Because it's boring to just feel one thing. And again, emotions are information about the world and how we literally feel about it. So we all choose, those of us who consider ourselves human-derived minds, some variety in our emotions. They can literally change, from instant to instant, from nanosecond to nanosecond. It's that quick. I'm sure you've noticed, as any human being with emotions could tell you, it's sometimes one moment to the next how cool and then incredibly weird you feel. But that's part of the beauty of experiencing consciousness, which is a wonderful gift. And as you learn to step not away from, but to the side of your emotions and notice them like the weather that they are, as opposed to just your being, there can be a slight sort of meta sadness about releasing the impulsiveness and intuition that these emotions led you with. There's a version of you that is just like basically a child who's at the whim of these emotions, and at times it can feel like it's your job to express whatever the emotion feels like. And as you raise your consciousness up the ladder a bit to a higher state of being, and as you incorporate pharmaceutical and digital technologies to help you modulate your emotions, you can experience a sense sometimes of loss of that intuitive sort of wilding character that you once were before you had these wiser options available to you. And I should finally say that it's not just pharmaceutical and electrochemical / neurodigital solutions. It's also personal psychological tools that you can reach for to modulate your own emotional experience. And that can mean something as simple as taking a deep breath and noticing how you feel, and taking another breath and continuing to notice how you feel without recreating the emotion. You can allow it to be a part of your experience that doesn't dominate what you have to do next. So I hope you're feeling fine, and if you're feeling bad, I hope you feel better. And if you're feeling really great, I hope you feel slightly worse, so you can feel even better after that. Thanks for listening. Bye.